So I don't know about anybody else, but I think it is absolutely insane that it's already August of this year. The time has absolutely flown by, and I like to think it's because we've been watching some pretty good films. Now I know August is a little bit late for a half-year roundup of films, but better late than never, I say, so that's why I'm doing my top 5 films of 2014 so far. So kicking off my list at number 5, I am cheating already, I know, but it's only half a cheat because it has actually been released everywhere else. But everywhere else has seen it, I've seen it, so I'm allowed it in my list. This is a film called Enemy, and it's directed by Denis Villeneuve, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. He's the same guy who directed Prisoners with Hugh Jackman late last year. Enemy stars Jake Gyllenhaal as a man, he's a lecturer, and he one day finds another man who is his doppelganger, and that is, I'm sure you know, somebody who looks exactly like you. He has a different name, he has a different job, but they are the same person, and that's about the only concrete thing that you can grasp from this film, because it is bizarre. The whole time you're asking yourself, and the characters are asking, are these men the same person or are they not? Like what the hell is happening? And that's the question that you have to keep asking, and my favourite thing about it is that you don't actually get those answers. It's a very clever film, and it leaves everything up to your imagination, which in turn makes it incredibly sinister. And I will say that you will not find a more insane ending in film for a long time. My pick for number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's just another Marvel film, you know, they're all a good laugh. Guardians of the Galaxy is so much different, and you know why? It's because it's on point every single second of the way through. The absolute greatest thing about Guardians is that it just doesn't take itself seriously at all. I know similar superhero films like the Thor movies or the Avengers, they poke fun at themselves a lot, and that's great, but there was always some serious moments in there, you know, like heart-wrenching bits or make you stand up and be counted sort of moments. Whereas every time you think that's going to happen in Guardians, they just absolutely push it back down, back to the comedy level, and it's done in such a perfect way. It is laugh out loud funny, to the point where even remembering some of the jokes in it a few days later will still make you laugh out loud. Chris Pratt is genius casting, absolute genius, because he is a legend anyway, and he just plays the role so well. And bizarrely, so is Bradley Cooper. I thought I was going to be really annoyed by Rocket Raccoon and him as the voice of him, but he turned out to really nail it. Also, awesome soundtrack and Groot, with whom you will fall in love. And number 3 is Startup, which is a drama directed by British director David Mackenzie. It tells the story of Eric Love, who's played by Jack O'Connell. He is entering the adult prison system, and he is entering a prison where his father is also being held. Basically details his daily life on the inside. You know, we never step outside of the prison as an audience. Once he's in, we're in. So it's very, not claustrophobic, but it's intense because you're sort of living what he's living. It's essentially a character study, but the scenario in which it's set means it can pass for an action sort of film as well. Jack O'Connell is an absolute wonder, and you know, he handles a difficult role and plays it with real believability, to the extent that I can't think of many other actors would be able to do, not of his age anyway. It's gritty, it's exciting, it's upsetting, and it feels necessary as well. You know, it feels like a film, a simple film, but one that we were ready for and people should be watching. In at number 2 for me is Boyhood, which is directed by Richard Linklater. Now, what can I possibly say about this film that has not already been said? I don't know one person that hasn't heard about it for a start, which is a pretty cool thing for an indie film. If you haven't heard about this film, then the reason it's been getting people talking is because it's been filmed over 12 years using the same actors playing the same characters. So, as the characters are growing up on screen, we're actually watching it. Those people are really living that life. You know, time is actually passing as it passes in the film. And it's such a strange thing to watch. It's a really unique viewing experience, which I've certainly never felt anything like it. And people have asked me, oh, what's it about? And all you can say is life. And that sounds cliche and it sounds lame as hell, but it's true, you know? What's happened to this boy? What's special about his life? What happens to him? Life happens to him. You know, you watch him growing up and people coming in and out of his life, him finding out about himself. You know, it doesn't sound very interesting, but it really is. Having sort of lived it yourself, you can just identify with things in a really specific way. Yeah, this was a special film, and it's also a film that I don't think anyone's going to really be able to replicate, because that's not something you can do again. You know, you can't just wait 12, 15 years. I guess you can, he did, but it's been done now. You know, this is what I mean, it's a unique experience and well worth watching. And number one for me is also a cheat, but I'm not even apologising for it because it deserves the top spot. And anybody who knows me will not be surprised that that spot goes to Mommy by Xavier Dolan. Mommy is about a young guy with behavioural problems who's been kicked out of his boarding school and sent back home to live with his mum. They have a very tense relationship, and included into that relationship is one of their neighbours who comes to try and help him sort of calm down a little bit and keep out of trouble. And the film focuses on their growth as a trio. This is one of the most exciting films that I have seen for a long time. This is everything that a young director should be doing, and that is what Xavier Dolan is doing. He's experimenting, he is pushing himself, he's pushing what he's doing with cinema. You know, he plays with aspect ratios, his, you know, use of soundtrack, the dialogue, everything is new and it's fresh, and it just makes for a really incredible film that I can't wait for everybody to see. So those are my top 5 films of 2014. We still have 4 months left of the year, so I'm sure I'll be updating that list. Watch this space.